Hi guys, welcome back to another DIY. So for this project you'll need a men's button down shirt, some pins, a pair of scissors, a ruler and some elastic. So first you're going to lay your shirt down like this, and then you're going to cut off the sleeves but not all the way. You're going to leave them attached at the very bottom. Leave about an inch on both sides of the side seam. So I'm marking the 1 inch and I'm ready to cut. So I'm showing you where I'm going to cut, and I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut. But before I cut, I left a lot of seam allowance so that I can fold it over to make a hem afterwards. The shoulder seam at the very top is kind of bulky, so to fix that I just pushed it in to invert it, and then it automatically created a ruffle. Replace your finger with a pin and then sew a small stitch where the pin is to hold it all together. So right now I'm just pinning the shoulder seams of both sleeves, and yeah, this is what it looks like pinned. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew right there on both sleeves. I just finished sewing and this is what it looks like both inside and out. After that, cut off all the excess material from that area since we won't be using it anymore. I folded back the extra material and pinned it down. By the way, you'll be putting your elastic through here, so just make sure the tunnel is big enough for it to fit through. So I'm going to sew a straight stitch about half an inch down from the edge so that you can make a tunnel for your elastic. So here is a stitch that I just made. Leave it open so that there is an opening on both ends for your elastic to feed through. I cut 2 5-inch long pieces of elastic for my sleeves. Pin one end down to one opening and then add a safety pin to the other of the elastic. Feed the safety pin through the tunnel until it reaches the other side, and then sew a stitch at both openings to lock in your elastic. Now you can repeat it to the other side of the sleeve. This is what it should look like. Next, cut across the shirt like this. I only used a ruler because I wanted to mark a straight line, so I cut it open. So I also went ahead and cut the top part of the shirt off because we won't be using that anymore. And then you can also cut off the front placket because we won't be using that anymore. And I drew a straight line in the middle and I cut it open too. So just try it on so you can see how much extra fabric you need to remove. Mark and cut off any excess material so that you could have a better fit, and then sew a new center back seam down the edge. Make a tiny slit where the back and the sleeve meet, and then fold down the top to make a hem. Straight stitch across the whole back edge to hem it down, and then add an elastic at the back because you want your top to hold on to your body. So I'm going to fold this part of the sleeve down after adding my elastic to give the whole back a finished look. So right now I'm just adding the elastic at the back, but I'm doing the same thing I did earlier. I pinned down one end of the opening and then I added a safety pin to the other, and then I'm feeding the safety pin through the tunnel until it reaches the other side, and then I'll sew a stitch. Fold the top edge out of slant and then sew a hem on the top using a straight stitch. This is what we have so far, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on the side and work on the ruffle. So for the ruffle, I used the extra material from the bottom half of the shirt that I had cut off. I cut along a 3-inch strip and then I folded and pinned the top and the sides of it to hem it. To make the actual ruffle, just sew a large straight stitch at the top of the strip where the raw edges are. I'm talking about the part that I didn't hem. Make sure you use these settings and make sure not to close the end of the stitch at the beginning or the end because you need to pull the threads. Now on one end, hold one of the threads and slightly tug on the fabric until it ruffles like this. Just move down the strip until you're happy with all the ruffles and make sure not to tug too hard or else you will break the thread. I laid my ruffle on my top to see how much ruffling I need to do to make it fit the top. Before sewing on the ruffles, I hemmed the bottom of the top to make it easier. Now you can pin the ruffles under the hem and sew across it to hold it all down. This is what it looks like all pinned down, so I'm going to go ahead and sew it all down together. So I got my plackets that I had cut off earlier and I cut them to length and I sewed them down. Since I had 2 buttonholes, I decided to replace the other buttons with snap-ons. I put one snap-on at the bottom and I put the other snap-on at the top and I sewed them down together by hand. I got some needle and threads and I sewed everything down, both the snap-ons and the buttons. So I sewed my 2 plackets on my top and this is what they look like. So right now I'm just positioning the buttons and the snap-ons on the plackets that I just attached on my top, and I'm going to do that, then I'm going to sew them down by hand with a needle. I just sewed everything down and we're all done.